Can someone stand behind me and hold my earlobes like this? Because look at how cute these are. I have a fat ass earlobe and look at it. It does whatever it wants. Who says only grandma has these candies? They're so cute, right? Have you ever heard of somebody confronting La Llorona several times? Or what about if you have confronted La Llorona and you were a kid and didn't even realize it? Nah, bitch, that sounds like something I would remember. So Julio as a kid loved spending time with his grandmother at her home all the time. The days that he spent at his grandmother's home were filled with adventures. Grandma never gave him like restrictions regarding the TV or games or anything like that. And no, it wasn't because grandma was irresponsible. It was just that every time they would sit down during the day to watch TV or for him to play a game, she would just accidentally fall asleep. He enjoyed spending time with his grandmother though, because she would always be up for whatever he wanted to do. If they wanted to go to the garden, or if they wanted to go and play, or if they wanted to go inside to watch TV, the grandmother was always there right by his side. He says that his fondest memories with her would be at nighttime too, because she would either sing to him or read him stories just so he could fall asleep. So here's the thing, as a kid he never saw like what his grandma did as weird. It was only until he grew as an adult and started getting into the paranormal where he started thinking about those memories and saying, wait, that was a little bit strange. Why wouldn't she go to sleep at night but she would go to sleep during the day? There was also other things that she would do that now as an adult he was like, wait, why would she do that? Every night that he would spend with his grandmother where she would be putting him to bed, he would always hear really strange sounds, almost like if somebody was crying very far away. And any time that he would ask his grandmother like, hey, what's that sound? It sounds weird. She would literally get on the bed with him, hug him, sing to him, close all the windows and try to put him to bed, telling him it's nothing, it's the cats, it's the dogs outside, don't worry about it. He says that she would go as far as to close and lock that bedroom door and she would start singing to him really loud. She would also be like, just go to sleep already. He'd be like, but grandma, it sounds like somebody's crying outside. And she's like, it's a cat, it's just a cat, don't worry about it. Some nights he'd be like, it's not the cats or the dogs, you can hear the dogs barking at whatever's crying out there. She'd be like, no, it's just the animals out there, you don't worry about it and go to sleep. Regardless of what happened or what he heard in his grandmother's home, every time he would fall asleep, she would do the same thing. She would get the blanket, put it all the way up to his neck, and then she would pull one of his arms out and make him like pray and bless himself before going to bed. Then she would do the same to him and the bed that he would sleep on, saying the following: Bendice esta cama de campo a campo, que no se le arrime ni cosa mala ni cosa de espanto. Good luck translating that, Letty. Bless this bed from here to there. Don't let anything negative come or anything spooky, which does not rhyme in English, okay? Let me live, I'm trying, but that's essentially what she said. You're welcome. That is the prayer that the grandmother would always do when he would spend the night, no matter what happened, getting ready for him to go to bed. And to be honest, he explains that those moments with his grandmother were moments so like precious. He loved them. He never saw them as anything negative. He enjoyed anytime she would pray over him or force him to pray, because obviously now as an adult, that's something that stayed with him and he always does before bed. So now he's an adult and he's remembering all those times and he's realizing something, and it kind of does scare him a little bit. Grandma was always too awake at night but very tired during the day. He also remembers something that he would have never even noticed as a kid, and it was that his grandmother always seemed really scared at nighttime. He would always believe her when she would say nothing is out there. However, now as an adult, he would remember that anytime that she would pray over him, her hand was always shaky. Like her hand was never shaky during the day, she never seemed that way, so why was she so scared at nighttime? He kept thinking about all these like weird things, and he decided that he couldn't just stay with that curiosity. He was gonna go to his parents' house and ask them like, was there something wrong with grandmother? What was going on? There was definitely something odd about the nighttime ritual. Unfortunately, the grandmother is already passed, so he can't go and ask her anything. So he went over to his parents' house and he asked them. Was there anything weird about grandmother's house? Like, is there anything strange about it? And very casually, the dad was like, oh yeah, the day after she passed away, we sold that house immediately. And he was like, like, well, why? Why were you in such a rush to sell that house? And the father was like, well, because La Llorona was always around that house. Your grandmother just didn't want to sell that house because it was a gift from your grandfather. Every time you would beg us to go over to grandmother's house, she would beg us to come and get you when the nighttime came because she said it was too dangerous, but you didn't want to leave her. You wanted to stay the nights with her. The grandmother went as far as to tell them, hey, you're putting him at risk. I don't want anything to happen to him. But he loved his grandmother so much, he always wanted to stay there. The grandmother would tell his parents that he would hear La Llorona, but that she would lie to him and be like, it's the dogs, it's a cat. It's nothing for you to worry about. Just go to sleep. They even told him that she would close the window to the bedroom where he would sleep because every time she would go to the window to like look outside, she was always outside in that patio where the window was. And when she would be looking, she would start walking closer and closer to the window. And then the parents were like, you don't remember? Every time you would come back from grandmother's house, you would be like, Mom, Dad, every night people will be knocking on the window at grandma's house. In the moment where his parents are telling him, he's like, oh my God, I do remember that. And then he like felt his stomach drop because he's like, that happened like more than a couple of times. And he had no idea that the entire time he was in the presence of La Llorona. Only he didn't remember. He just thought that they were cats and dogs because his precious grandmother just didn't want her grandson to be in danger or to be afraid. The fact that his grandmother like never let him be afraid or even told him anything. She was afraid herself, but she still protected him. Like, bitch, don't cry. What the fuck? Anyway, what do you guys think? La Llorona should have been afraid of the grandmother. That's for sure.